This morning, investigative files were released from the famous Jacob Wetterling case after being held back by a lawsuit. A press conference in downtown St. Cloud followed the release, and our own Tony Langfellow was there to get the story.
We have all had the advantage of knowing the ending from the beginning in perhaps the most famous murder mystery in the history of Minnesota.
On a very fitting, rainy and gloomy day, the investigation files of the decades-old mystery of Jacob Wetterling were finally released to the public.
How many other boys were assaulted in Stearns County? Well, there were 7, and they were in Painesville, where Danny Heinrich lived, and where Jacob Wetterling was assaulted and murdered.
The sheriff said the investigation was a mess from the beginning.
We would also say that, your investigation is already off the rails. An investigator should have been on that in mere moments after Jacob was taken.
Goodmanson says that much of the report information was essentially meaningless.
The reports have been described as more detailed versions of who didn't do it. There are huge wastes of time and manpower, particularly in the beginning. Essentially, there was a lot of manpower. Most of it was squandered.
In October of 1989, 11-year-old Jacob Wetterling was abducted in St. Joseph. The case was a big question mark for over 20 years, until Danny Heinrich confessed to his murder in 2016.
We know the child never got to experience life.
Former FBI investigator Al Garber disagreed with Sheriff Goodmanson's remarks, causing the room to heat up.
But what's missing from his credentials is, has he ever worked a case of this magnitude with this many agencies?
What's the secret in a cold case? Read the reports.
Maybe you have, Don, but if you have, you didn't say you did.
Worked mafia assassinations, Chicago as part of a task force.
Okay.
Obviously, some of those, you know what, Al? Why don't you take it outside?
Is it because you don't want to hear this?
No, take it outside.
I don't think you want to hear this.
Although the Stearns County files were released today on the Jacob Wetterling case, the FBI files may never come to be. At the Stearns County Law Enforcement Center in St. Cloud, Tony Langfellow, UTVS News.
It should be noted that the Wetterlings sued to not have the documents released, but then lost the lawsuit and did not file for an appeal.